There are many uses for a Raspberry Pi, and in today's video we take a look at a product called Pi Signage. This allows you to use a free application to display any signage on a screen. Now there are hundreds of use cases of these, for example a shop floor, a waiting room, or even outside your front door of your house if you want. You can have a new sign design every day. The software for this can be downloaded directly from pisignage.com. It comes with 2 player licenses and a free lifetime subscription. Now I have to say this can be scaled to quite a large production, but it does come with a cost. You can host this yourself, or how we will do it today is we will host it through the Pi Signage website. What I'm going to show you in this video is how to set this up on a Raspberry Pi and some basic configuration about it. Before we jump in though, be sure to hit the like button and hit subscribe if you find this useful and want to see more videos every week. All the products used today are in the description below, so feel free to check them out. They are linked to my Amazon affiliate. Let's get to it. So let's start by taking a look at the Pi Signage website. So as I mentioned at the start, you get 2 player licenses and a free subscription. So I'm going to quickly sign up. We'll do this together on here. So pick a unique ID. So let's go with InsideWire, email address, type that in, and a password. And then we'll sign up. Okay, then it's telling you to sign in. So let's go InsideWire and password. Excellent. So this is the start here. So it actually gives you some step-by-step links on what you need to do. So prepare players and connect to the internet. So we need to, the first thing we're going to do is prepare an SD card. So let's just have a quick look at this. So this takes you to the GitHub website, and it's going to tell you how to download and prepare an image. Here it shows download and prepare the image for the SD card. So what I have is a Raspberry Pi 3B Plus, so I can use 2.4 or 2.71. So I'm going to try and download 2.71, so this is just going to take me to a Google Drive where I can download this. So it's 1.2 gig in size, but we want to download it anyway, so we're going to go ahead and let that download. Okay, now that that's downloaded, need to use a piece of software to unzip the file. So this is saying to use Apple Pi Baker, but I actually have a different piece of software called Etcher. So what I'm going to do here, if I can bring this across, just give me 1 second. Oops, open up the website. So if I bring this across and we want to select from file to my downloads, that's the Pi Signage. We want to select the target, which is the SD card I have, and then we want to flash the storage. So I'm going to go ahead and let that run. It's going to just ask me for the password. Okay, and that's going to go ahead and do that. So we'll just let that quickly write to the SD card. And there we go, that is that done. What we're going to do now is go ahead and install this SD card into the Raspberry Pi and boot it up. So the Raspberry Pi is now booted up, and we're now going to try and attempt to terminal into it. So normally you would plug in a monitor and keyboard and mouse, but I added in the SSH text file, so it should allow me to SSH in. So let's try SSH Pi at 10.1.184, and then the password is pi, and there we go. Okay, we're into the system itself. But just so we know that that works, the next thing we need to do is go 10.1.184:8000, and that takes us into the digital signage itself, the actual Raspberry Pi. So if you ever come across an issue where this, well, not an issue, but if you ever come across and ask you for a username and password, the username is Pi and the password is Pi. So it's all the same. So once you're in here, you can see that it's a very minimalist interface. You've got your playlist, assets, and let's have a quick look at the settings. So let's give it a player name. So we're just going to call this one IW Studio. Any optional notes, I would suggest giving it a static IP, so I'm just going to go 10.1.1.42, and then we want to add in the CEDAR notation and the gateway 10.1.1, 10.1.1.1, and then the primary DNS again the same, and we'll leave the secondary DNS as Google. So we're going to save and reboot that one. We'll leave Pi Signage as the server, and if you want to change the password you can do, it's entirely up to you, and I've just left this on auto. So we're going to click save and reboot. So we've lost connection to that IP address, which is expected, and then if we change this to 4.3, oh, sorry, it was 4.2, can't even remember what I put there then. So we sign in, and there we go. We've now given it a static IP address and we're good from this side. So now we want to go back to Pi Signage, so let's just close these for now, and we don't have any registered players. So my Raspberry Pi is completely headless and we need the player ID to register this. So one way you can do this is quickly open up the terminal app. Let's just make this bigger again. Just SSH into the Raspberry Pi 10.1.1.42. We know the password already, and then there's a command you can actually populate. I'll put this in the description below, but this is the command you would need to use, and that would give you your player ID. So we can just copy that, register a player, and we paste it there. We want it managed. We'll assign to the default group. Location of player is in the studio, and then the player location is my house, and then we click register, and then we have our first signage server registered with this. Okay, so once you've registered it, there you go. The studio one is here and it's online, so we have a green status just here, which is great. So next thing to do is there's an update available, so let's quickly click the update button, which is just here. So we installed 2.7.1 and it's telling us, do you want to go to 2.9.4, which is fine. We can click OK. It says it can take a little while, so we will wait for that to go off and get done. So now we know that that's up to date because that's disappeared, and we're happy with this. So we then move on to groups. I want to create an IW Studio group, and we click add, and that's fine at the moment. We'll leave this blank as it is, and then we'll move on to assets. So we've already created some assets here, which is fine. I've just imported some images in. That one's a little bit small, but all the others are 1920 by 1080. We then want to make an IW Studio playlist. We click add, and we are adding, so yeah, we're adding these ones into the IW playlist. Now for this to work, what you need to do is go ahead and deploy this to the IW Studio group. Once you go into the IW Studio group, you're going to choose your default playlist, which is a bit unusual because you've just selected it, but however, you choose your IW playlist, and then there's some options here. If you want to play a default, if you want to add additional playlists, you can do. If you want to combine content, we're going to shuffle content after every cycle. And then what we want to do here is we want to show players. So there's actually no players registered here, which is a little bit weird, but anyway, we will register a player within here. We know the code that we had earlier, so IW Studio, we'll call this Studio, and it's at my house, so we'll register it. So we know that this is now registered here, and then we can go ahead and click deploy. So that has now been sent out. We can click dismiss there, so we know what's going to go there. So if we go back to players now, we can see the Studio one is just here. And if we want to click and see what's going on the screen, we can click here, and at the moment there's nothing. So let's give it a minute. It's saying the player is offline, so let's give it a minute to catch up. Let's give that a second. So there we have it, a quick refresh of the page, and the green status is now green again. Sorry, the status is green again. And if we click on here, as we did last time, you'll get a snapshot of what's currently on the player. So you can see that's one of the images we'd chosen last time, and that's it. Then that will actually flick through all the images that are there. I hope you found this video useful. Drop me a comment below if you've liked it and you'd like to see more around this. Again, all the links are in the description below, so feel free to check them out. This is InsideWire, and I'll see you in the next one.